It's time for Mr.
Fundamental.
Presented by no one.
Heading into the season, the Milwaukee Bucks are one of the favorites to win the championship. Still, no one was really expecting their 9-game winning streak to start the season, especially without Khris Middleton and other rotational pieces like Pat Connaughton and Joe Ingles. What the Bucks have been doing to compensate for the depleted wing depth is very interesting, and also a big reason for the hot start, so let's check it out. Instead of going with their promising third-string wing in Jordan Nwora, a young 3-and-D rookie in Marjan Beauchamp, or a veteran in Wesley Matthews, the Bucks decide to soak up the majority of Middleton's minutes with Jevon Carter and Bobby Portis. They're starting the former, and the results have been amazing. This lineup is destroying teams with a net rating of 34.5. The main reason they went with Carter is on the defensive end. Carter is a defensive pest, and some compared him to Patrick Beverley on draft night. I mean, just look at the contest here. He's always putting pressure on the ball handler and making life a living hell. The Knicks got a solid 20 seconds to run their offense, but keep an eye on Carter throughout the possession. He gets past the off-ball screen with ease, and when they run a pick and roll, he does it again without giving up an opening. The Knicks go into a rescreen, and Carter doesn't even let Robinson make contact. Another rescreen, and no luck for the Knicks. Carter contains and makes Brunson so uncomfortable, he makes a really late pass to Robinson, who's met by the Bucks' interior defense. Pressuring up has its downsides, like getting beaten off the dribble, but that's what the Bucks' defensive schemes call for, to funnel them into the shot blockers, help rotations all around, and red out to shooters. His defensive IQ is impressive. He's on Jaden Ivey, who's at his best slashing to the rim. Despite of that, he pressures up because the clock is winding down and forces the airball on the 3. Allen gets caught up on the off-ball screen and gets beaten on the drive. Carter helps, picks up the driver, and forces House to create something and turns it over. The key part of playing Carter is so that the Bucks still have a point of attack defender, while also having a reliable defender to match up with offensive wings, and that's what they have in Jrue Holiday. So you can see Carter is on a smaller guard in Ivy, and Holiday is on a 6'8 wing in Cunningham. Holiday has a pretty good track record of guarding bigger wings, and that's what the Bucks are relying on. Having 3 guards chasing along the perimeter is allowing them to run players off the arc, and forcing the offense to beat them in the mid-range area. Despite the size advantage, they had Holiday going up against KD, and that's part of their strategy. This tempts KD to just elevate over small defenders for midi-Js. KD's gonna knock down some of these shots, but the Bucks are happy with long mid-range jumpers with decent contests. Offensively, Carter isn't asked to do too much besides spotting up for 3s. While he's not hitting his shots at the rate he was last season, defenses will still respect his jumper because of his willingness to pull from deep. Actually, their whole team isn't knocking down their shots like they did in past seasons, but we'll get back to this later. Their 3-guard lineup is useful on this end too, because it puts more capable ball handlers around Giannis and their bigs to go into quick pick and rolls or handoff actions. You can see an uptick in their play type of scoring through pick and rolls and handoffs, even though their efficiency might not be up to par. Now on to Bobby Portis. He's been a fan favorite since joining the Bucks, and usually the first big off the bench for them. While Lopez, Giannis, and Portis makes up a majority of their 4 and 5 minutes, they've been on the floor together at the same time for longer stretches this season. While this 3-man lineup isn't as dominant, they still have a net rating of 7.9. Defensively, they're not doing anything different. They're still eliminating 3s, funneling drives into the shot blockers, and leaving offenses with mid-range looks. Holiday chases over to prevent a pull-up 3, but look at the help defense when Kyrie comes off the screen. He decides not to attack 2 of the best rim protectors and with a 6'10 player in the area, leading to this pull-up mid-range jumper. Here's a high pick and roll for Young, and Giannis is showing to deter the drive. Both Lopez and Portis starts to collapse, and this baits Young into a long step back 2 with Carter contesting. Having more bigs on the floor means a higher chance to have a big defender contesting in the paint. Again, this plays right into the Bucks' defensive scheme. The Wolves run a set for Edwards, and Holiday gets caught on multiple screens. This is a very aggressive closeout by Lopez, but he's doing this because he got both Portis and Giannis to protect the paint. It doesn't matter though, because Edwards still hoists up a shot. Defensive impact of triple big lineups usually gets offset by lack of spacing and poor offense, but this isn't the case for the Bucks. Portis' in and out game and comfort along the perimeter makes him an easy fit besides Lopez and Giannis. Also, remember when I mentioned the Bucks' poor shooting to start the season? Well, they're compensating that by attacking the paint, especially in triple big lineups. They're making it a focus to get the ball into the paint and take advantage of their size. A quick steal by Lopez gets him deep paint position and just knocks down a fadeaway over the smaller defender. The Bucks are looking to feed Giannis in the post, and the Knicks are prepared with Robinson pushing Giannis close to the 3-point line when he gets the ball. The Bucks gets Portis stuck in the low post since the smaller wing is on him. The defense wasn't prepared at all, and Portis lays it home before the help comes. They feed Giannis in the post again, and the Knicks show some help to deter any drive. Lopez does a quick duck-in, and the help defenders are too small to do anything this close to the basket. The Bucks are making an effort to attack the boards too. They're ranked 5th in offensive boards after hovering around league average in previous years. On this drive by Giannis, check out how Portis and Ibaka both cut in to crash the offensive boards. They maintain this principle even when they have just 2 bigs on the floor. In fact, the Bucks have played Giannis without Lopez, Portis, and Ibaka for just a total of 9 minutes so far, and this just goes to show an emphasis on their interior attack with at least 2 bigs on the floor at all times. While the Bucks have used their 3-man lineup sparingly across 5 games for 22 minutes so far, going from 3-guard lineups to triple towers keeps their opponents on their toes. The beauty of this is that on the defensive end, opponents won't know whether a quick pick and roll or handoff is coming, or that one of their bigs is going to duck in for deep post position. On the other side of the ball, this change in personnel doesn't affect their defensive schemes at all, which eliminates defensive lapses or miscommunications when they swap a guard for a big and vice versa. This is a big reason for their number 1 ranked defense in the league. The main change in their defense this year is limiting 3-point attempts, going from 30th in opponent 3-point attempts to 8th right now. Their 3-guard lineup allows them to navigate screens easily, and the mobility to recover out on shooters helps with that as well. In triple big lineups, you'll see Portis typically stationed in the weak side corners, while Giannis roams out on top. Whenever the ball gets into the paint and Lopez is in position, Portis doesn't help off the shooter. This is quite a shift from their pack the paint and recover strategy in previous years. Essentially, the Bucks are trusting that Lopez or Giannis will be enough to deter shots at the rim, and now focusing on stopping the 3-ball, which has been their main problem for years. This is an encouraging sign, as Budenholzer moves away from his rigid schemes and continue to show flexibility and experimentation. Of course, the Bucks still have 2 of their top players in Giannis and Holiday to carry the team, but I never would have guessed that Carter and Portis would soak up most of Middleton's minutes. Other wings might be the most obvious choice, but the Bucks are thinking outside the box, and they're getting rewarded for it. The playoffs will determine how successful this season has been for them, but it's great to see a supposed contender dominating despite the injury bug. That's it from me, and I'll see you guys next time.